throughout the week is exactly the thing that needs to be spoken at this time, and let it touch the hearts that you know it will touch. And we bless you. I bless you, Father. I bless you, Abwan. In Yeshua's name, amen and amen. Pekudei, the completion of the tabernacle, the Ohel Moed. So here we are in the 23rd reading of the Torah reading schedule of this year. We are in the last reading in the book of Shemot, Exodus. We have come to the point in Torah where the tabernacle is complete in its fabrication. Every socket, every base is made. Every board is fashioned to fit into its base. All the hammered work is done for the seat of covering, it is done for the menorah and the table of showbread and the altar of incense. The coverings for the tent of meeting are all finished. Each hook for hanging, every clasp for joining fabrics, each curtain and every veil is now complete. The laver for washing and the altar of sacrifice is ready. All the bases and boards for the outer court are ready. The cords, the tent pegs, are all poised to be put to use. The time of assembly is upon Israel. Many hours of effort and much material have been given for this goal for Adonai to have a place to dwell in the midst of his people. The time for them to set up his place is now. This happens 1 year after he brought them out of the land of Egypt in the month of Nisan, which has a curious origin. The root word for Nisan is the word Nes. The word Nes means miracle. What a miraculous month. God set Israel free with many miracles. He will do that in times to come also. Once the tabernacle is set up, we see another miracle. Let's turn to the book of Exodus in chapter 40, verses 38 through 40. We read these words. Everything is set up. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of Adonai filled the tabernacle. Moses was unable to enter into the tent of meeting because the cloud resided there, and the glory of Adonai filled the tabernacle. Now, whenever the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, Bnei Israel went onward throughout all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not move out until the day that it was. For the cloud of Adonai was on the tabernacle by day, and a fire was there by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. From this point on, all Israel had a physical sign that was evidence that God was with them. He would lead them in their journeys. He would lead them in their journeys. It was a physical sign. I mean, all the other miracles were amazing. All the hail, all of the plagues that he had used as judgment on Egypt. The parting of the Red Sea, the drowning of the army of Pharaoh, water from the rock, manna from heaven. All these miracles were amazing. And now there is physical evidence right before their very eyes that he's always there. He's always with them, in their midst. Let's move on to the Haftorah reading. What does it say with regard to his presence? We see here that Solomon, much like Moses, has built a house for God to dwell in. His father David had desired to do it. However, God told him that his son, who would succeed him as king, would accomplish the construction. As Moses set up the tabernacle, so Solomon had his workers finish setting up the temple. Let's turn to the book of 1 Kings in chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. We read that the Kohanim, the priests, bring in the Ark of the Covenant. Then we read what transpires. The Kohanim brought the Ark of the Covenant of Adonai to its place, into the inner sanctuary of the house, to the Holy of Holies, under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread out their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered the ark and its poles from above. But the poles were so long that the ends of the poles were seen from the holy place before the inner sanctuary, but they could not be seen from outside. There they are to this day. Nothing was in the ark except the 2 tablets of stone Moses had put there at Horeb, when Adonai cut a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt. Now when the Kohanim came out of the holy place, the cloud filled the house of Adonai. So all the Kohanim could not stand to minister because of the cloud. For the glory of Adonai filled the house of Adonai. Then Solomon spoke and said that he would dwell. Then Solomon spoke. Adonai said that he would dwell in the thick cloud. The temple in Jerusalem was complete. The Ark of the Covenant was placed in the Holy of Holies. Then the kavod, the presence, came and filled the temple. The priests could not stand in his presence to serve. Solomon seems to realize the greatness of God with respect to his own greatness. In chapter 8, verse 27, we read this also. So God will really dwell on the earth? Behold, heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain you. How much less this house that I have built? He realizes that even all of creation cannot contain God. Cannot contain God. He full well comprehends the greatness of God as well as the inadequacy of mankind. He knows that the efforts of men are a shadow of what lies in their hearts. The first covenant was meant for us to be with him. The second is no different. His covenants are meant to bring creation into unity with the Father, especially mankind to be in unity with the Father. Let's look to the writings of the Brit Hadashah In the book of Hebrews, in chapter 8, verses 8 through 13, we read this. Behold, the days are coming, says Adonai, when I will inaugurate a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. For they did not remain in my covenant, and I did not care for them, says Adonai. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Adonai. I will put my Torah in their mind, and upon their hearts I will write it, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No more will they teach each one his fellow citizen, and each one his brother, saying, Know Adonai, because all will know me, from the least of them to the greatest. For I will be merciful toward their iniquities, and their sins I will remember no more. In saying new, he has treated the first as old, but what is being made old and aging is close to vanishing. He will put Torah, his teachings, his doctrines, his ways into their minds, into their hearts. Or should I rephrase that? Into our ways. He will put his ways in our minds and in our hearts. He, Adonai, is faithful to dwell where he puts his name. In 1 Kings 11:36, it states that his name will be in Jerusalem. However, he put his name somewhere else through the priestly blessing in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 27. And that I will read. So they, the high priest, shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. The priest will put the name of God upon us, and he himself will bless us. His name and his presence on and with each of us. Let's reflect that to all men. That his name and his presence is on us and in us, and let us reflect that to all of mankind to whom we have contact with. May you be blessed by the reading of the word of the Lord. And since this is the last reading in the book of Shemot, in the book of Exodus, we say all together, Chazak, Chazak, Vinit Chazak. Strength, strength, let us be strengthened. B'Shem Yeshua Mashiachenu. Amen and amen. Please rise for the V'ne'emar. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. And it is said, the Lord will be king over all the earth. On that day, the Lord will be one, and his name one. Amen. Father in heaven, bless your children. Put your name on them. And bless them by putting your presence in them as well. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha vayasem lecha shalom. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord lift up his face unto you, and may he be gracious to you and show you favor. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you, and may he grant you his shalom, his peace. Nothing missing, nothing broken, everything complete. B'Shem Yeshua Mashiachenu, in the name of Yeshua, our Messiah. Amen.